So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, and it's my great pleasure and privilege to be here with Gary Knapp and Dinah Hunter, and each and every one of you week here in Australasia, or whenever you're reviewing this recording down the track. We know that Saturday mornings is a very busy time for some people and families in particular, and it's not often convenient to watch on Saturday morning. So we know that this is a gift that keeps on giving, and it's people utilize our call archive, either the audios or the videos on YouTube on a frequent basis. Today, we're very privileged to have Dr. Steve Nugent. Dr. Nugent is Mantech's Chief Science Officer and Chairman of the Global Scientific Advisory Board. He has more than 40 years of experience in the area of integrative medicine. He has tested more than 6,000 dietary supplement products and formulated more than 100. He is internationally recognized as an expert in his field, and he has been teaching doctors for more than 30 years. He is Mantech's most requested speaker worldwide. He has earned multiple degrees, graduating with top honors at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. His areas of study include integrative medicine, health and wellness psychology, leadership psychology, organizational psychology, neuropsychology, biological anthropology, nutrition science, and business administration. Dr. Nugent has served as president of the International Association of Complementary Medicine and is president emeritus of the American Naturopathic Medical Association. And he is a professional member of the American College of Nutrition. He is also awarded the Servant's Heart Award by Mantech Associates in 2007. Dr. Nugent is one of Australasia's favorites. He carries the heart for the health, the well-being, and education of everyone he meets. He's passionate about giving the power of wellness back into the hands of everyday people. You want to bring those you love and care about to hear this education, whether it's live here today or down the track via the recording. One thing we're not taught about in school or in the doctor's office is how to be proactive in protecting, maintaining, and improving our health. We are very privileged today to have some education about a complex bundle. You know, the cornerstones of nutrition for the cell are covered in this bundle, probably with a few exceptions, which Dr. Nugent will cover for us. So Dr. Nugent, thanks again for always being here for us.
It's always my pleasure, Sharon. It's always great to support the folks in Australasia, and always good to see you.
Likewise. So I'm going to go off camera. I think you can share your screen. I've made you co-host, and I'll be taking notes as usual.
All righty, we will share screen and get to the top of the presentation, and here we are. All right. Well, as Sharon had mentioned a few moments ago, we've got 4 products to talk about during this hour. This is the complex bundle for Australasia, which it is my understanding will be available only through the end of this year. And if I'm wrong about that, then Sinead can correct me on that. But this is a bundle which is designed to provide the basics that everyone needs and a little more on top of that. So this is what the bundle looks like. And of course, it obviously starts with ambrotos. And in this case, this is called the complex bundle. This is based on ambrotos complex powder. Since we are an international company doing business in 32 countries, but people buying product from us in 44 countries, many of you will have connections with people in different parts of the planet. The rules are different. Sometimes the names of product is slightly different as well. Not every country in our Mantech world has all of the various ambrotos technologies. My favorite ambrotos technology, which I will reiterate again, is actually ambrotos complex. Of our 3 ambrotos products, that one is my favorite. And this bundle is built around that. So complex as your foundation, omega-3 with D3 plus, which is a phenomenal product. It's highly underrated by your TGA, by the way. And Catalyst Multi, we'll be talking about all of those. And I wish I had an hour for each one, as I normally do for you, but we don't today. So we are going to move fairly fast through the 4 different products, just the highlights for you. The idea here is for you to be able to talk with people about this bundle, this complex bundle, and know why it's so valuable as these four products are bundled together. So the bundle is designed to provide you with immune support, of course, digestive and gastrointestinal function, also to help you with, and this is a TGA permitted claim for plus, relieves muscle and menstrual cramps. We'll talk a little bit more about plus in a few minutes. And of course, help you to restore your beneficial gut flora, knowing that your immune function and newer studies showing us also that even our emotional well-being is actually connected to the probiotic bacteria in our gut. So to have your gastrointestinal flora at proper balance at all times is the ideal condition, both for your immune function and your digestive function, but very importantly, and the studies are showing this more and more, for your emotional well-being and cognitive function, and even your ability to sleep well at night. Now, that's not a permitted claim from the TGA, but the most important chemical in your brain that helps you to relax and to sleep is actually made in your gut. And then it moves up the chain into your brain. Pretty interesting stuff. Well, Ambertose, the key with Ambertose is cellular communication. And I love this slide. I asked our art person, give me a graphic that says communication. And this is what she gave me. And I love this picture. It's so good. All right, so the benefits, these are the TGA, they're referred to as permitted indications, or the benefits as listed by the TGA. And these are all very important. And I think it's also important to note that TGA has latched on to the 7 studies that we've done with Ambertose and memory function, as well as our emotional well-being and mood. Yes, Ambertose has 7 brain studies. If you're looking for a product to help you with memory and cognitive function and your sense of emotional well-being and I would even say happiness to some extent, Ambertose would be your product. And we at Manitech are the leaders in glycan technology of all of the companies in our industry. We recently have seen some newcomers, and they will make products out of mushrooms, and they'll say, well, we're the same as Manitech. No, sorry, you're not. Because Manitech is the only company in the nutritional industry that can say that they pioneered a new field of science. That field of science is called nutritional glycobiology. Now, that differs from glycobiology, which was recognized as a science back in 1988, and that was before Manitech was born. This is not glycobiology. Nutritional glycobiology is the study of the application of glycans for your health. So that's a different science, but we are the pioneers of that science. And no company can say they pioneered any field of science except Manitech. So any of these other companies who say, oh yeah, we have glycans too, well, that's very nice. But none of you are anywhere close to where we are in science and technology with our many human double-blind placebo-controlled studies on our finished products. We clearly are the leaders. All right, saying that, what are glycans? A lot of people have never heard of glycans, and Manitech for many years used a commercial term that actually Manitech created called glyconutrients. Well, glyconutrients are not a thing in science, and we want you to use the scientific term, and that is glycans. Now, what is a glycan? A glycan is any sugar or assembly of sugars. It's not, so it isn't just a single sugar. You'll see some definitions that will see it's only polysaccharides or it's only oligosaccharides. No, it is any sugar or assembly of sugars. And that's what we have here as a glycan. So these are carbohydrates. So you can see this in different ways. And you're going to see, by the way, different textbooks that may refer to carbohydrates as sugars or carbohydrates or saccharides, or they may get a little more specific and say polysaccharides, which is from the Greek and it means many, or oligosaccharides, and that means few, or a few, which by definition in most English dictionaries will be anywhere from 3 to 12. In fact, oligos tend to be anywhere from 3 to 10 combinations of glycans all assembled together or linked together. So any of those words, carbohydrates, saccharides, sugars, or the specifics, polys, oligos, monos, any of those are accurate, but you're already thinking about sugars as a bad thing. It's something that tastes delicious and it's bad for you. Well, the reality is ambrose is the exact opposite. It definitely does not taste delicious and it's good for you. And so I'll give you more on that in a moment. But I want you to notice that glycans are necessary for every function of the body, every function. So no matter what else we want to talk about in terms of nutritional supplementation, if you don't have your glycans in place when you ingest that vitamin C, that favorite mineral, that herbal product, whatever you're taking, it's not going to function right in your body without glycans being in place first. Now, because I've said the word sugar and carbohydrate, some people are thinking, oh my gosh, this is bad for me. Well, it isn't. How do we know? Well, we're Manitech, we're the science company. So we did a double-blind placebo-controlled blood study with human test subjects. And we took their blood sugar first thing in the morning to establish baseline blood sugar, allowed time for the ambrose, and this study was done with, by the way, ambrose complex powder. The majority of our scientific studies are with ambrose complex powder. And so we tested their blood later, hours later, and found out that no one had changes in their blood sugar at all. Why? Because ambrose complex powder does not contain disaccharide sugars. Now, disaccharides are the sugars that taste really good and are bad for your health. So these are the sugars, or scientifically correctly, glycans, which are really good for your health, and they definitely do not taste good. So don't worry about them raising your blood sugar or doing any of those nasty things, because this doesn't happen. And by the way, the study I'm speaking of was done by one of Australia's very best neuropsychologists and scientists, Dr. Talitha Best. So glycans are foundational. They literally make us who we are. And I think that this should really get your attention, because you can't say vitamins make us who we are. Vitamins are fuel, minerals are fuel. Herbals contain glycans or phytonutrients or minerals or vitamins. So what is foundational to making us human beings? Well, let's start with our blood. Now, you see you've got 3 blood types on the screen, and all 3 of the blood types have one thing in common, or if you want to get down to cases, 2 things in common. So the sphingosine and fatty acid is the same in each of the blood types. And those are called ceramides when you combine those 2 things together. Now, below that, you'll see some little colored blocks, and each colored block has different letters in it. Each of those letters are abbreviations for glycans. So what you'll notice is the difference between the blood types is the assembly of glycans. It's different. And it's that difference, that glycan difference, that is the difference between being a blood type O or a blood type A, as an example. Now, you can't say that about any other nutrients, only about glycans. But it gets better. You've all heard of the Human Genome Study, I'm sure, and that genome study, which was completed in 2003, And the idea is, let's find out how many genes and what kinds of genes we have and what the genes do. Well, they started working with yeast cells, and they found that yeast cells have only 6,000 genes. They thought, well, all right, a yeast cell is a pretty darn simple organism. It doesn't think, it can't fly, it can't build things, it can't speak, so it's a pretty simple organism. Well, then they started studying fruit flies. They expected that fruit flies would have a lot more genes than a yeast cell because fruit flies are far more complicated than a yeast cell. And they were right. And so now we add 14,000 genes in 1999. And then the human genome study starts, and they thought, well, if you have more than double the number of genes between a yeast cell, which does almost nothing, and a fruit fly, which is much more complicated, when we go to human beings who are immensely more complicated than fruit flies, well, we'd probably have 100,000 genes or maybe more. Well, they found out that we didn't. We only have 25,000 genes. Well, this presented a problem. How do only 5,000 more genes make us so much more complicated than fruit flies? What could be the answer? The answer, my friend, is glycans. You see, it's due to, and this is from the scientist who did the investigation, Vintner, and Vintner said it's due to post-translational modification of genes. What the heck does that mean, you might say? Well, I'm going to show you a picture in moments to help explain to you how this functions. But what it means is each of these glycans is so powerful, so variable. It can give you so many variations for function and support in the human body that one gene with its appropriate glycan connection can give you incredible multiples of functions. So you don't need more genes, you only need the glycans. Well, here's a teaching aid of how it works, and I've been using this teaching aid for 29 years. Now, this is the simple way to look at it. The surface of a cell is what you're looking at. And from the cell, you see there's these little coils that are coming up out from inside of the cell to the surface of the cell. And connected to these little coils, you'll see a bunch of little beads. Now, we colored them green. They're not actually green. We just did that so you could see a difference. Each of those little beads represents a glycan which has bonded to an amino acid. That makes it a glycoprotein. That is what creates a signal. Each of them knows the cellular alphabet, but each of them is programmed for certain functions. So when you have all of your glycans, and it requires 8 glycans to be positioned as you see on this slide, so each of those beads represents a glycan and a bond to an amino acid. That's the communication, that's the signal, like your cell phone. Now, vitamins and minerals, those act as the energy to cause the signal to go out and come back. And this is why you need to have your vitamins and minerals with your glycans to make sure that this signaling is always correct. A cell phone is no good without power, right? All of you know that. So the power is the vitamins and the minerals. Now that in this teaching tool, I've made it very, very simple because I want you to see that by the signals these little beads send out, these glycoproteins send out, they're saying things to the body like, repair me, I have damaged cells, destroy bad guy cells that have entered my bloodstream and don't belong there, protect me from oxidative stress from the environment, from pollution, and bad guys coming after me. Regulate me to help me make the right hormones in the right amounts every day. Nourish my body. These are the nutrition that I need during the day. So I want you to eat this and eat that today. And all of those signals happen through cellular communication, and that is done only when all the glycans are present. This is what it really looks like. So again, That's the teaching tool to make it look simple so you can understand. But now let's go forward. This is taken with an electron microscope. And what you are seeing is an enormous number of those little coils and their little beads coming up. Now, they used a blue dye on the surface of this cell in order to show you, to illustrate how many of them there are. If you could fly in a helicopter above a cell, if you were yourself a micro unit in a micro helicopter and you could fly above a cell looking down at it, what you would see is that the cell is virtually covered like a rainforest, completely covered with these glycan structures. That's the way it works. Now, you're not just talking about a need for millions or even billions, but really trillions of glycans. And your body has 32.7 trillion cells, and they all need this. And that, my friends, is a lot of glycan every day. So the big question comes up, are you getting enough glycan from the modern diet? This is from a study that was done on our primitive ancestors. And these scientists wanted to find out, what did human beings eat during the majority of the history of the human race? Now, whether you agree or disagree, these scientists tell us that the fossil record indicates that human beings have been around just over 300,000 years. Well, who knows? They may find more information that tells them something different later on, but this is what we're told today. And that during that 300,000 plus years, it was only about 11,000 years ago that we began farming. Now, once we began farming, according to the fossil record, because you can see disease in fossil bones and in teeth, you can see the evidence of disease, and very often you can tell what diseases these individuals had. What we know is that after we started farming, when we abandoned our natural hunter-gatherer diet and we went to farming, we began to see an increase in disease, a significant increase. In other words, our health went down, not better. And you might say, oh, but surely farming is good for us. No, farming is now necessary to sustain the enormous population on this planet. If we didn't have farming, this planet could not survive, because with a hunter-gatherer diet, 8 billion people would not be able to hunt and gather enough food to stay alive. So farming is necessary to keep the human population alive. But look at how different the modern diet is today from what it was for our ancestors, for the majority of the human race. But we believe that throughout the majority of human history, everybody was getting enough glycan in their diet because their diet was different than our diet. But are we today getting enough? Well, there are now 67 countries that say we don't get enough. Now, these 67 countries have now made it federal law in each of those nations that nutrition has to be added to the food that is produced and sold to the population. Why would any government say that you need to do that? The only reason is they know that the nutrition is not available. And with very few exceptions, the majority of countries provide medical benefits, health benefits to their population. And you can argue that in some cases that's not good quality, in some cases it's insufficient. And in fact, Americans will argue that this is why so many people show up in the United States for treatment when they can't get the treatment they need in their country that provides free medical. Well, and I saw that myself when I was in practice. I saw it every month of every year of my practice, people coming to the United States for answers that they could not get in their home countries. But if your country provides you with free medical, keeping in mind that nothing's free, nothing's really free. Get a grip on that, folks. That's just reality. So taxes pay for that. And at some point, there has to be cutoffs for you. But when the governments involved, in this case, 67 governments, have realized that, you know what, there's insufficient levels of this vitamin or that mineral, and we better add that to food because we already can barely afford to keep our populations healthy. So 67 countries have done this. Will there be more countries in the future? I believe the answer to that is yes. Is this every nutrient? No, they have selected certain key nutrients that they can directly connect to diseases of one type or another. And they will then say, well, these nutrients have to be added to, as an example, cereals, bread products, grain products, as I like to say. So this can include, and I know the words are different in every country, so muffins and cake and pie and, you know, et cetera, but things that are prepackaged and pre-made and then sent to you versus things that you can buy in their natural form. Well, we know that we need 8 glycans. The science on that is very, very clear. If you don't have at least 8 of these glycans, 8 specific glycans, you cannot have proper cellular communication. And without proper cellular communication, you cannot have complete function in all your systems. So if your body, whether it's your immune system, your brain, your gastrointestinal function, if you want your body to function correctly, it needs to have these 8 glycans. So going back to the original question, do you get enough? Well, according to this scientific document, it says that in the modern diet, we normally get 2 in the necessary amounts, and it's pretty reliable that we get these 2. But where are the other 6? And by the way, those individuals who don't consume dairy, are they getting enough of the galactose? And the answer very often is no. So then, we need 8. We're getting 2 in reliable levels, but we need 8. What's the solution? Well, you take a supplement. That's what you do. That's the only thing that makes sense. Now, at Manitech, we use science to study for safety and efficacy. So we don't want to bring a product to the market if it's not safe and if it's not effective. What would be the point in making a product that didn't work? And we do that by scientific study on our final products. What do we know then? Glycans, our glycan technology, and the majority of the studies that you're looking at right now, the overwhelming majority of these were done with our ambertose technology called ambertose complex powder. And so cellular communication, that's confirmed, brain function, memory function, concentration, attentiveness, mood, irritability, immune function, of course, 95% and even more of the people who come to Manitech are looking for immune support. But I show this chart because I want you to know that ambertose is providing far more than immune support. And everyone over the age of 50 is experiencing a gradual but continuous decline in memory function. That's normal. It's age related. It's not disease related. It's age related. Okay. And because of that, because we know that the majority of people who buy supplements around planet Earth are over the age of 50, it just makes sense that everybody's taking ambertose for that, as well as all the functions. If you're short on the glycans, your functions can't be accurate and correct. The ambertose technologies are third-party tested. Not only have we done our own studies, but we have sent them out for third-party clinical testing for safety and efficacy to further confirm the safety and function of our products. There are currently 17 patents still on ambertose, and we have earned more than 150 patents, by the way, since the beginning. Patents expire in 20 years. So patents are important, especially important that we've earned them. And that shows the patent office that what we claim we can actually prove. That's why the patents get awarded. I personally recommend Ambritose Complex to doctors every time I do a doctor's training, because that's the one that you'll never make a mistake with. People, the doctors particularly, they say, well, which Ambritose should I use for this condition or that condition? And I always just say, doctors, just give them Complex. You'll never be wrong. Again, that's why it's my favorite one. All right, why should we supplement glycans every day? Because a lot of people look at dietary supplements as medicines. Ambritose is not a medicine, and there are no dietary supplements that are medicines. I don't care what you think. I don't care what some companies may claim, but it's simply not true. You see, nutrients nourish the body. Glycans do nourish the body, but they are providing functions through cellular communication, and you better have those functions complete. What if your immune system is challenged? Well, let's not look at every cell type on this chart. We don't have time to talk about that. Let's look at the first line, the top line. It says granulocytes. Those are eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils, also known as immune cells, also known as white cells. So when you see your doctor for your annual physical, the doctor will talk about your white cell count and your red cell count. All right. The white cells are the immune cells. Those are the cells that have to be present in the correct number, and they've got to be healthy cells to respond to an immune challenge. Your body can only do so much. And some of these cells, basophils, can last as long as 3 days in your bloodstream. Neutrophils, your most important, the single most important cells to respond to an immune challenge. Neutrophils only live for 1 to 2 hours. So every 1 to 2 hours, they need to be replaced. The little beads on the coils, those are called receptor sites, on the cell needs to be replaced, and it's in the level of billions of glycans we're talking about here. So every 2 hours, those neutrophils are being replaced during immune challenge. Now, generally speaking, glycans will generally last in your body for about 24 hours, but when you're under an immune challenge, it's important for you to take multiple applications of your glycans to support your immune system, because remember, these cells are turning over anywhere between 1 to 2 hours, possibly as long as 3 days in the case of basophils. And it looks like this picture you're looking at right now, folks. Billions and billions of these glycans are necessary for you to have proper function, but especially in this case, immune function. So why do you need to take your glycans every day? The glycans don't last. You can't just take some and say, well, I feel great now. Surely this will last magically in my body for the rest of my life. No, it doesn't work like that. Your body needs to be nourished every day, and it needs to have the right nutrients every day if you hope to have proper function of your body. Let's talk about omega-3 with D3. This is a great product and something that I really would like everybody to use every day. Well, what are omega-3s necessary for? Well, brain health, eye health. The majority of studies, by the way, on omegas have been done on inflammation. So as anti-inflammatories, omega-3, hugely important. Eye health, absolutely crucial. The retina of your eye, I'll talk more about that in a moment. And healthy levels of blood lipids or blood fats, cholesterol, triglyceride, etc. That all has to be done. The majority of studies on omega-3, as I say, have been done on inflammation, but there's so many studies on memory function and heart health and circulation, and yes, even immune support. Our supplier provides us the exclusive on the most clinically tested and clinically verified fish oil on planet Earth, with more than 100 clinical studies. That is exclusive to Manatech. What are the TGA permitted indications, as TGA likes to call it? Well, for this product, Uh, Bone health, certainly because of the D3 involved. No matter how much calcium you take, if you have inadequate levels of D3 or magnesium, that calcium will not do you any good, not for your bone health. We're talking about heart health support, immune health support, and of course, cognitive function in various areas. Studies done in the United States at a place called Tufts University. The US government sponsored studies, they're human studies, and found when drawing the blood of human volunteers that there were more than 10 times too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. Now, omega-6 is an essential fatty acid, but it needs to be in very, very small amounts. When it's in high amounts, it tends to cause inflammation, and it tends to cause women to have all manner of female-related issues that become pretty darn unpleasant. So omega-3s need to be the highest level in your blood, not the lowest level in your blood. And that's what the studies showed us among those human test subjects in those studies. Now, some people will say to me, well, there's this really exciting advertisement and marketing about krill oil. Why don't we use krill? The main reason is that there is no scientific evidence. There's great marketing, by the way, wonderful marketing, love their marketing. But there's no scientific evidence that krill oil gives you better function than fish oil. Their claim is that it functions faster after you swallow it, which is irrelevant because you need this 24 hours a day. Doesn't really matter if it functions in 20 minutes or 40 minutes. It's pretty irrelevant, but it's great marketing. I love the marketing. Now, krill provide the food source for several species of whales, so you don't want to overfish them. We use anchovies, and there is no danger of anchovies ever going extinct the way we see the numbers. They are just amazing how they breed. But the main reason that I convinced Manatech that we should go with anchovies versus krill is religious. Not my religion, but religion, the religious beliefs of more than 2 billion people on planet Earth who follow a text based on the original Leviticus text from the original Hebrew Bible, which says that you should not eat anything from the sea that does not have fins and scales. Krill do not have fins or scales, which means that if we made our oil from krill, then there are more than 2 billion people who could never take advantage of our oil. So that's why I urged Manatech to use anchovy versus krill. And anchovies, by the way, are just jam-packed with omega-3 and in the right proportion for human blood. So it's just perfect. Now, what about purity? Purity really is the key when it comes to omega-3s. And, you know, a lot of companies will say, well, we put more in our capsule than company B or company C. That's irrelevant. Purity is the question because the oil must be pure. And our omega-3, which, by the way, once again, is exclusively supplied to Manatech, our omega-3 isn't just pure. By scientific standards, the European Union of Scientists, they have the highest standard on omega-3. The Council for Responsible Nutrition, the Global Organization of EPA and DHA, and the US Pharmacopoeia, we are not just pure, we are ultra pure. You are simply not going to find an oil better than this oil. And again, we have the exclusive on the oil that has the most scientific testing behind it of any oil on planet Earth. So omega-3s, these are the TGA indications, as they say, or we might say benefits claims, as we say in the United States. So bone health, that's from the D3. Heart health, that's from the omega-3. Immune health, both from the omega-3 and the D3. So those are very, very good indications, but there is, of course, more, as I've just spoken about. Now we get to Plus. Well, Plus, the third product in this bundle, is a pretty unique product. It was Manatech's first product, by the way, back in 1994. Wow. And it still remains one of Manitech's top selling products. Now that says something about a product. If people continue to buy a product for 30 years, there's probably something pretty darn good about that product. It must work. People don't buy products month after month unless they work. So I don't really even have to do any science, but we'll do a little bit, okay? So these questions that you're looking at on the screen right now, do you feel tired after a full night's sleep? Are you gaining weight and you have no idea why? So we're not talking about eating muffins and cupcakes here. We're talking about you don't understand why you're gaining weight, all right? You have difficulty losing weight. Do you feel tired in the afternoons? Somewhere between 3 and 7 is typically the time frame. And that's when your adrenal glands hit their lowest point in most people. Are you having mood swings, or do you just feel kind of slow, kind of low, I should say, feeling kind of sad? Are you looking for a product that can support your glandular system? And that product may be Plus. That may be the product you're looking for. Now, I talk about this because I have done a whole lot of study on Plus. It's the first product I lectured about. I studied it with my patients when I was still in practice. And, we've looked at this product pretty hard since 1994. This is providing you with the basic stuff, the basic material, the basic nutrient to feed your glands so that your glands can produce hormone for you. It's important to understand that this is not a hormone product. I'll repeat that in a moment. These, by the way, are the TGA approved or permitted indications in Australasia. So relief of muscle cramps and muscle twitches, menstrual cramps, menstrual spasms. Why? Because of the way this functions with the female reproductive system. Now, it also supports the male reproductive system, and it supports other glands. Very importantly, the adrenal glands is what I found when I was in practice. Manitech does not make a claim on that. I'm just reporting to you what I found in practice, and I found it quite exciting because the stress of modern day living, very poor sleep patterns, the majority of the planet appears to be having problem with sleep these days. That's a different presentation that I do, which we don't have time for today. But just to know that this is a problem that you might be able to support, you might be able to help using Plus. I have seen people from the first time I was involved with Manitech, especially women, who will say they will not part with their Plus under any circumstances. And I understand why, because of the way it functions. It generally is a product that really improves your sense of well-being. It appears to help with energy in many cases, in many people quite significantly. But of course, you look at the claims there. All right. Catalyst, the fourth product in our system, the Catalyst Multi, as it's called in Australasia. In the US, it's simply called Catalyst, and other countries have different names. But let's take a look at the TGA permitted indications. Whoa, huge. There's quite a list of indications here. Starting with, and certainly not the least, antioxidant. Now think about this. Reduce free radicals formed in the body. Your body is being attacked by oxidative free radicals 24 hours a day. Are you doing enough? Well, of course, you need certain vitamins to help you with that. These vitamins include vitamin A, C, and E, but especially C. Just as vitamin C is the most important vitamin for immune function, it is the most important vitamin for antioxidant function, or helping you with free radicals. Now, the human body is designed to deal with normal levels of free radicals every day. In fact, simply breathing creates free radicals. Most people don't know that. Any physical activity creates free radicals. And the more physical activity you have, the more free radicals you would make. Now, I haven't even talked about pollution yet. I've just talked about what's going on inside of your body. Okay. So then, individuals who are laying around on the couch are going to make fewer free radicals than individuals who are out running, riding their bicycle, swimming, playing tennis, bowling, whatever, or individuals who are working out at the gym. So weightlifters are going to make even more free radicals in their body. And Olympic athletes will make even more free radicals in their body. And professional athletes will make huge levels of free radicals in their body. Because now you've gone over and above. Your body's designed to take care of, well, let's call it sprinting. So your body can take care of sprints of free radical needs, but what is not natural for human beings? Being an Olympic athlete is not natural for a human being. It's not natural. What is natural for us? Humans throughout the history of the human race have used their physical bodies to gather food, to create shelters for protection, to gather water, to run from predators where necessary, or to run after prey animals where necessary. So these are normal functions. It's not normal for you to be a 5K runner every day because our ancestors didn't do that. It's not normal to be an athlete. It's not normal to hit the gym and lift weights for 2 hours. So I want you to understand that if you do something which is above and beyond normal function, then what you're going to do is create free radical levels that are above and beyond your body's normal ability to neutralize them. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. All right. Now, I'm not against exercise. In fact, I want you to have it. I want you to have regular exercise. It's very important for your health. Now, how you choose to do that exercise is up to you. Whether it's, swimming, playing tennis, walking, riding a bicycle, whatever it is, or if you're of the mind to be a bodybuilder, or you are a professional athlete, or you wish you were a professional athlete and you're trying, well, understand that the more you stress your body, the more free radical protection you need. That means more vitamin C, more vitamin A, more vitamin E. Also, it calls for certain minerals to be available for you. And these minerals are in Catalyst Multi as well. All right, let's look at some of the other claims. So you have metabolism and metabolic rate. Your metabolic rate is the rate at which your body converts stored body fat into energy. And your metabolic rate can be adjusted in most human beings, and in some human beings, even significantly adjusted to help them burn fat more efficiently and more continuously. The only purpose for stored body fat is to store energy. Our ancestors, through the majority of their 300,000 plus years, were hunter-gatherers. They didn't find food every day. In fact, sometimes hunter-gatherers might go 2 or 3 days without finding food, but they still need enough energy to keep walking, or to run from predators, or to chase after prey, and to be physically active enough to look for food. That requires energy, and that comes from stored body fat. But that stored body fat has to be converted into energy so that you can continue your function. That's your metabolic rate. That is metabolism. That's what we're talking about here. The first formula that I made, the very first catalyst formula I made, and we're now up to, I think, the 6th upgrade to the formula. But from the first one to the present, I've always made sure that there are those nutrients that support metabolism and fat loss. Those nutrients are present in Catalyst Multi. And of course, energy production, that just really follows what I've just been talking about. Eye health, you need certain nutrients for healthy eyes, and vitamin A is one of those for certain, but you need other nutrients as well. Growth and development. So really, starting from the time you're very young, as you're growing throughout your life, and a sense of general health and well-being. There are some vitamins I'm going to talk about in a couple of moments that are crucial, not just necessary, they are crucial to feeling a sense of well-being, not just being healthy, but to feel like, you know what, I feel good. I feel good today. This is a great day. I feel like I can take on the world today. That kind of feeling of well-being, that comes from certain vitamins we'll talk about in a moment. Healthy body tissues, all tissues require certain vitamins, certain minerals. Bone health, obviously the nutrients for bone health are here in multi, and gastrointestinal system health is also supported by them. Immune health, obvious, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Nervous system health, which is really big. I mean, your nervous system also includes your brain, by the way. So your nervous system is really important to your daily function, your health, and your well-being. And all of these permitted indications from Australia's TGA, just so that you know that. Well, catalyst, by the way, contains ambrotose. Yeah, it contains glycans. But I formulated this product so that it has huge levels of vitamins that are crucially important to you. Now, you may have seen me do presentations and in the US or in Europe or in other uh, geographic locations where the numbers are different than 200%. The reason for that is that the RDI, or the required daily intake, is different by country. Now, it shouldn't be scientifically, but it is. All human beings have the same requirements biologically, and the difference between someone who, as an example, is who is born with natural platinum blonde hair and sapphire blue eyes and skin so light that they almost look like ghosts up in Finland, and someone who's born in the Congo and Africa, whose skin is as black as skin can get, hair as black as hair can get, and eyes as dark brown as they are almost black. And you say, wow, there's got to be a big genetic difference between these two groups, right? No, that's wrong. Human beings have far more in common than they have differences. In fact, the differences, those two very extreme differences that I just made, the differences between those two groups is less than 0.01%. In other words, almost no difference at all. We all have the same biological requirements, all human beings do. And we have to make sure that we feed our bodies what they need. But every government has different levels. So they'll say, well, we think our people should have this many milligrams or these many micrograms of this nutrient or that nutrient. Okay, whatever. Whatever the governments have decided is what we have to honor and follow, because, hey, we have to follow their rules. That's the way it is. So that's why this number is different from some numbers that you may have seen on other presentations in other countries. Still, 200% of your daily requirement for vitamin C. 200%. It's actually more than that in this product. Your body needs vitamin C for immune function. You need it for so many aspects of your health. You even need vitamin C to make collagen for healthy, youthful looking skin. You need vitamin C for so many things, and it's an essential nutrient. So what I wanted to look at, the studies tell us how much a human being can actually digest and absorb. And up to a certain level, US scientists call that the upper tolerable limit. Giving somebody more than the upper tolerable limit is pointless, and in some cases, possibly dangerous. But if we use nutrients that are water soluble, which means that your body will absorb a certain amount and urinate out what it can't use. That's what water soluble means. So you don't become toxic from it. It doesn't accumulate in your body. Vitamin C, B1, B12, these are water solubles. You need them really bad every day for antioxidant support, immune support, uh, as I said, collagen production, joint health. The list is so long for vitamin C. You can't make it. You need to have it. I want you to have more than 200% of the minimum. RDI is not the maximum. It's not the upper tolerable limit. It is the minimum. It's the low end. Okay. So 200% more than is the minimum requirement in Australasia. Vitamin B1, B12. B1, I call it, Manitech doesn't call it this. I call it this. I call it the happiness vitamin, because you can't feel good about yourself or good about anything without vitamin B1. B1 is responsible for making more than 40 different enzymes in your body, which is hugely important. B1 is crucial to your digestion. It's crucial to brain function. It is absolutely essential for nervous system function, and the list goes on and on and on. And B1 helps you with metabolism. It's one of the most important things you can use to help your body convert stored fat into energy. So B1 is an energy vitamin. It's a stress vitamin. And B12 is also an energy and stress vitamin. So I wanted you to have really strong amounts of this to give you a powerful multi to cope with life on planet Earth today. Today, according to the most recent scientific data, it appears that there are more than 350,000 synthetic chemicals on planet Earth. That is unheard of. These things did not exist before the year 1930. Your body needs help right now with antioxidant support. So once again, vitamin C in big numbers, more than 200%. This is our best vitamin C product at Manitech. And of course, B1 and B12, I want you to have a lot of it to make you feel good, for metabolism, for energy, psychological needs, so many things. It is so important to have that product. And that brings us to the end of our complex bundle, and we are just under the 60-minute mark. Frankly, I didn't think I was going to make it.
I can tell you're right on point there, Dr. Nugent. There's so much gratitude in the chat. It's really awesome. A couple questions, if you don't mind. I know
Sure.
sometimes we can't answer them, but I know there's quite a bit of chatter or recommendations for algal oil, ALGAL oil. How does that compare to some of the nutrients you talked about today?
I can't speak to you on. I've done no research in that area, so I'm assuming that somebody got hit by someone selling the stuff, and now the rumors are spreading.
Yeah, it's hard to compare
yeah.
nutrients sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I don't really want to speak about something unless I've done some objective research on it. And there are only something like 200,000 products on the market right now.
So you're behind on your research.
Yeah.
Yeah, forever behind. And also someone who has had rashes from wild yam as a vegetable, would they be at risk with plus?
That's difficult to say. There are 615 varieties of wild yam. This one is Dioscorea villosa. I don't know which one they ate. It's highly improbable that they ate Dioscorea villosa. Highly improbable. There are various yams found in Asia and Australasia, the cinnamon yam and so on, which they may have eaten. So I can't really answer that question for you.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you. And I think that's pretty well it. There was one other way at the beginning. Just 1 second if I could find it. No, we'll handle that later. Oh, that's it. The ambertose powder and the ambertose capsules. How do we compare them?
Well, what you would do is look at the label, because we have the because in some countries there are advanced ambertose capsules, in some countries there are complex ambertose capsules, and some countries there are both. So I don't recall which one you have in Australasia, or perhaps you have more than one in Australasia. But what you'll see is that, You have the complex? All right.
I believe so.
The amount of active in a capsule is going to be very, very low. And the reason for this is that the glycan powder is very fluffy. Anyone who has ever opened up a maniple container and you have this sort of like cloud that comes up when you open up the container.
Yeah.
You have to, and more than 50% of complex is made up of maniple and arabinogalactan. You have to weigh that down with an encapsulation agent. If you don't, you can't put it on automation, on systems for encapsulation. So there is very little ambrotose in a 500 milligram capsule versus, remember, we want you to have 2 grams. Without me looking it up, and it may actually even still vary in Australia because different rules, different countries. But without me looking it up, it's probably going to be about 6 capsules equivalent to half of your daily serving of ambrotose powder. I would have to look it up to be sure, but I think it would be about six
That's
capsules.
okay. And the experts in the crowd are telling me we have advanced in our capsules. So.
Oh, you have advanced. Okay. Well, with advanced, there's even less manipole because manipole has half the, or I should say advanced has half the amount of manipole that complex has. So there's even less active. There's more total material because there's more allo material, general allo material. So there's more total material per capsule. If I recall, again, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's 635 milligrams is what comes to mind. And so then you would have to start doing the math from there. 4 grams is our daily recommendation of powder. And if I'm correct, if it is 635 milligrams, that just sticks in my mind somewhere. And that may be only the US formula, may not be yours, but so check the label to see.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
And in fact, I can get back to you and then you can disseminate that information to your group.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of gratitude for those distinctions because it's been a while since we've spoken about some of those things. So Dr. Nugent, God bless you. And thank you very, very much. There's lots of people saying I'm going to watch this many times. So it is the gift that keeps on giving. And again, apologies for the mix up in the schedule this week.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This, by the way, is my 4th training today. And thankfully my last training tonight. As you can see, the sun has gone down as I've been presenting. So I've lost my light in the room. I should have put on TV lights and I didn't. So
that's okay.
Yeah, long day for me, but hopefully a very pleasant morning for all of you.
Wonderful morning. It's fantastic, Dr. Nugent. God bless you. And we'll see you in about a month.
You bet.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for everything.